Hello guys, Elita-Legionarii here, and today I'm going to be bringing you a follow-up battle to my last Rome Total War upload. You might remember in the last battle, now I just need to point out, if you haven't watched the last battle, now it's not essential that you need to watch it for this battle, but it will help make more sense if you do go watch the recent battle before this one, the one where I was playing as Carthage, because this battle ties in. They're two like completely unrelated battles, but they have relating principles. So I can use this battle to explain some of the stuff like I was talking about in the previous video. So in the previous video I talked about how archers are not generally they're not a decisive force usually in 31k. Now I didn't say they couldn't be usable, I just said they are not a decisive force, and you have to try and get into a key position with your archers to make them pay for themselves or to make them effective, because you remember, if you're bringing plenty of archers in your build, you are depleting yourself of either infantry or cavalry. In most cases that should be infantry, because you do not want to deplete on cavalry, because cavalry, like I said in the last battle, is the deciding force in basically every single 31k game. About 80% of 31k games will be decided by cavalry actions, so that is why cavalry should never be depleted too heavily. So it will obviously be infantry that loses out when you bring archers. So in the last game it was OTD members, and as you know they tend to use archer builds, and both OTD players had 4 archers each in the last battle, and the other ally had 2 archers, giving the team 10 archers, which expended 10 infantry units out of their whole army, which put them at an infantry disadvantage. And during that battle, what we did is, to counter it, we kept our infantry in their face very aggressively, and we continued to push them, and we gave them no option for flanking. So they needed to get their archers into a key position to overcome our superior infantry, and we gave them no option to do so. So as a result, their archers were relatively ineffective and could not get any decisive kills, and thus we were able to exploit our superior number of infantry against their infantry, essentially. So this battle is a battle where I'm in a team where we play exclusively heavy on archers. Our builds, all 3 players have the exact same build. So I'm playing as the Scipii Romans. I have 10 urban cohorts, 4 archers and 6 cavalry. Now my archers have allowed me to put excess upgrades into my cavalry. That is one good thing about when you bring archers, you can get much stronger cavalry, which is important, because the cavalry is very, very important if you want to get success with your archers. The cavalry have to encounter success if the archers are to counter success. If you do not have much success with your cavalry, then your archers will probably not succeed in what they're trying to do. So my cavalry is gold and 1 EXP all the way through, but I've only got 10 infantry, so I'm going to be at a disadvantage in infantry fights. So my key here is not to play overly aggressively with my infantry. I want to play defensively. This is why my formation is as it is. It is a very defensive formation, because it is playing into a defensive role. My allies have done more or less exactly the same thing. My allies are Titans Mohammed and Titans Beast. So Beast and Mohammed are excellent players, superior to me in every way. They're superb strategists and tacticians on the battlefield, and they have an absolute excellent understanding of Rome Total War, and especially 31k and tactics. Now you can see that our team has exclusively done exactly the same thing all the way through. We all have 10 infantry, 6 cavalry and 4 archer units, giving us a total of 12 archer units, which means we've got 12 less infantry than a regular setup. So our opponents are stronger in infantry, but our cavalry is very, very strong. So I believe Beast and Mo have done exactly the same as me and gone with gold 1 EXP on all their cavalry and their archers here. So, and they've both taken, as you can see, similar defensive formations. We've all started in Testudo, and I'll just unpause it to show you why that is. When you go into Testudo, when you break them back out of Testudo, your men are much tighter formations. This is very good defensively, because it means you can shift back into Testudo very quickly, and it gives your men a lot of durability to defense, which is what we want infantry-wise. But I'm going to go back to pausing, and I'll have a look at the enemy team. The enemy team consists of LNK, I'm not actually too sure who this guy is, but I've seen him around a couple of times recently. So he's playing as the Scipii. He's got a 14-6 build, so he's got a 4 infantry advantage right away on Beast opposite him here. Then we have an OTD member, which is Copsman. Copsman was in the last game, and again, in typical OTD fashion, he's brought a lot of archers. He's brought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 archer units here, and that means he's got 6 cav and I believe 9 urban cohorts. So his cad's probably, like ours, quite strong. And then we have Bubu again, who is using Greece this time. So he's got 4 Cretan archers, and I believe it is probably one armoured hoplite there, and then the rest are Spartans. But I can't count tonight, so I don't know. I think that's 15 Spartans, I think. I might be wrong there, though. So, if we look at these armies these guys have got, the skirmish is slightly in our favour. Only slightly, though, by about two archers or so. Infantry-wise, however, it's in their favour because they have the Spartans. We've only got 10 infantry here, so nobody in our team has got armies that can directly counter Greece. So if we had to get into an infantry engagement with Bubu, we're going to lose because none of us possess enough infantry to do it. Now 10 Urbans rather, is nowhere near a match for 15 Spartans. They'd get hammered. So it is ideal for us to avoid combat with Bubu because we will not win, based upon numbers at least. But what we do have is a cavalry advantage of 6, and that is important. That is going to be what gets us into position. We have to use the cavalry to set up our archers. So if I unpause it now, what Beast will do in this battle, and the attack direct assault is going to come from Beast. What Beast will do, and Mo will most likely back him up on this, is we need to quickly try and destroy one cavalry section, so that what happens is if they lose cavalry, for instance, if the Scipii loses his cavalry here, that'll leave only 6 cavalry on their entire team, which means we'll be able to move our archers around wherever we like, because we'll have enough cavalry to easily overwhelm their defences, and they'll have no way of going after our archers, you see. So with 6 cavalry, 18 cavalry versus only 6, for instance, they just can't stop our cavalry. So the key to getting your archers into a key and effective position to overcome your opponent is to use your cavalry to set it up. But we are at an infantry disadvantage all up. This guy's got 14 Urbans. This guy's got 15 Spartans. Now, Copsman's only got 8 infantry, but because they've got Spartans and 14 over here, they still possess the infantry advantage. We've got 30 infantry all up. These guys have got about 35, 36, something like that, so they have the infantry advantage. So what we're doing here is quite simple. Mo and Beast are going to work. Mo's going to work to try and just keep archers in the centre occupied, and I'm going to use my cavalry in an aggressive flanking action supporting my archers here, but the infantry is not going to take any engagements. We're just going to keep close to each other infantry wise, but we are going to take no engagements because our infantry is not capable of taking engagements with anyone but anyone but Copsman. Bubu will hammer anyone here because he's got way more infantry, and LNK's got more as well. So the key lies in we need to quickly set up a situation where we have cavalry supremacy. So you're going to see here that Beast is going to work to try and rid the enemy team of one wing of their cavalry here, which is going to be great. So if Beast is going to charge in and take out the Scipii, this guy gets caught out of position. He's trying to play defensively, but he's going to get caught out. If we look on the other wing here, I've set my archers up to shoot. Now I'm just going to pause the game. I don't want to do this. I don't want to shoot the enemy archers. Okay, so I want to look for an opportunity to get his archers. Now because we have 6 extra cav off the start, it means that if Mo, who's going to support the fight with Beast, is going to force Copsman to back this fight up, or the Scipii will most definitely lose. But while that's happening, I can take advantage with my 6 cavalry out here, and I can sweep out all of these Cretans if they're not well protected by the Spartans. And even if he does get them into protection with the Spartans, they will still get shot at by Beast and Mo's archers for no counterfire. So what this is basically maneuvering and using attacks on one flank to get some critical options on the other. So Copsman's going to go defend here, and we're basically just taking advantage of our superior cavalry number to kill their archers over here, or we can kill their cavalry over here. Either way, we'll come out with a win. So Beast is just scrapping out with these defensive Scipii here. He wins this section over here, and then Mo's going to get a counter over here. So this is exactly what we want, because it's going to rout the Scipii cavalry on this side, which means we now possess 18 cavalry to their 6 Brutii cavalry here, which means we have cavalry supremacy everywhere. So now I can go archer hunting, and there's nothing that can oppose me. The Spartans will not capture me. And these guys are on skirmish mode. My guys actually run into the Spartans here. That's just because I was getting too close, but they start loot. I believe they've already lost 2 Cretan archers, and these guys over here have got no defense against it. And as you can see, Mo and Beast will just extricate their cav over here, and now their archers have got no defense here. So on this flank, Greece, for instance, is in a terrible situation because both myself and Beast can completely outflank Greece, and they can't do anything about it. They can't catch me. They can't catch my archers. They can't stop them. So Greece is going to get shot at here. So this is where the difference in that first battle was. Our opponents had no setup for their archers, whereas in this battle we have our archers in the flank, and we have them with complete control. We can position them at will wherever we want, because we've got lots of cavalry to protect them, and they've got only 6 cavalry to cover their whole group of archers, and that's just not enough. 6 cav versus 18. I mean, as you can see, like Beast took like practically no losses, Mo took practically no losses, and I haven't taken any losses, and I've also already collected 2 or 3 archer units. So the result here is we've got a massive cavalry advantage. So positioning our archers anywhere we want on the battlefield is our will. We can do that however we want, whenever we want, and that means our archers can be a decisive force at will, because they can't do anything about them. If they go focus on one group, the other cav will come in. We can just use our cavalry to protect our archers, and we can still have attacking power as well. So the only thing these guys can do is try and attack us, our infantry, which is our weak point, because we've only got 30 of it versus their probably 35, 36. You know, they've got an advantage here, especially with the Spartans, which are very good versus Rome. So we're still just going to avoid combat here, and we're just going to skirmish now. And as you can see, Beast comes in. He's going to collect any archers that are undefended. So Copsman pushes forward here, making a push up here, but this leaves the archers completely undefended. So myself and Beast are going to push up, and we're just going to come in and try and deal with these guys. Now this is a good move by Copsman here. He sees that we were not defending this side, and he comes in here and he's going to get rid of a few of Beast's archers here. So I'm going to send some guys back to stop that. But even so, losing a couple of archers like that, distraction of his cav, is not a big deal. And we're going to collect the rest of these archers here. And as you can see, Copsman's going to try and stop this, but this is not going to go well for Copsman, simply from the fact we'll just be able to exploit our superior cavalry numbers once again. His cavalry will get isolated from his infantry support, and it's 12 versus 6. We'll win, just because we'll have numbers. And that's the simplicity of it. So we're just going to push in here, myself, Beast, and we're going to catch all these Brutii cavalry on their own. And we charge in here from multiple angles and surround him pretty much. And it's going to get down the nice final wedge charge here. And Copsman's now down to just 8 infantry, so his attacking capability is pretty much nothing again at this stage. So their cavalry and their archers have been destroyed, and we've still got archers galore all over the battlefield. We can use them however we desire to use them. We can shoot flanks, we can position them everywhere, and there's nothing, and absolutely nothing they can do about it. So that's why the difference from the last battle. The last battle I did, where our opponents had lots of archers, they didn't have the capacity to set up their archers in such a way as we couldn't deal with them. What works out so well, this is a very, very effective method of fighting Greece, because Greece will never bring, well, very, very rarely will Greece ever bring anything in the way of cavalry units, because Greek cavalry is not very good. They might bring a few generals bodyguard, very, very rarely, but it's not common. So that means a team that has 3 Rome versus a team with 2 Romes in a Greece will always start away with a 6 cavalry advantage, unless someone's brought an army to counter Greece, for instance. So in this scenario, we have a cavalry advantage. We were able to set up in such a way that we quickly gain the cavalry advantage, and once we gain the cavalry advantage, we could have the archery dominance anywhere on the battlefield. And as a result, our opponents are just getting shot at, and we're just avoiding combat. You can see, like, our infantry doesn't need to take combat. We'll just wear down Bubu's Spartans. He's taken quite a few hits from these guys. You can see a nice trail of dead Spartans around the battlefield. And I mean, we're totally behind their lines now, and our cavalry's behind their lines too. So when we do take an infantry engagement, we're going to have a big cavalry hit. And as I said in the last battle, cavalry wins 31k games, and we've got all the cavalry now, and that's a huge advantage. Even though we've got a big disadvantage with infantry, we've still got the biggest advantage on the battlefield because we have 18 cavalry to like virtually nothing in terms of cavalry. So the chances of us losing at this stage basically there's not. We couldn't lose unless we deliberately tried to. I mean, if that sounds arrogant and cocky, forgive me, it's not meant to. I'm just saying we have so many advantages at this point in the battle that losing is just, unless we deliberately try to, it's just not going to happen. Now, we were talking at this stage of thinking about striking out at the Scipii, because the Scipii is isolated, and we could got cavalry on this side. We've got infantry from Beast that can come in, and we've got cavalry from Mo. So this army of the Scipii is very, very in danger here. But you're going to see in a minute quick work in terms of recognising a better target. So the plan at this stage was, the Scipii is really isolated, so we'll try and destroy him soon. All the while, we'll just continue to shoot Greece's flank and run away from Greece. Although Greece is starting to catch me here a little bit. But just keep running away, and we'll keep shooting Greece's flank here. And we'll just keep working on that, because we'll set up to destroy the Scipii here. But you're going to see in a moment that we recognise that the Brutii becomes a better target. So we just change the plan. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start taking the engagement here. I made a bit of a blunder though. I kind of screwed up my grouping, so I get a bit clustered, which isn't good against Greece because I'll take a lot of unnecessary casualties. But I'm just going to set up in such a way that I can keep fighting Greece on the front, and me and Beast can keep shooting them in the back, and that'll be fine. That'll compensate for my lower numbers. But you're going to see in a moment, we see that taking the Brutii out will be easier than taking out the Scipii, because the Brutii has only got 9 infantry units. As you can see, Greece is taking an absolute shitstorm of Pila from myself and Mohammed at this stage. He does manage to get the unit of mine there though. Now I'm clustering up my archers here. This is a mistake. I should have spread them. That's something you should always avoid, so that's a mistake on my part. But you can see the Scipii is further over this way, but the Brutii is very weak in the middle and very, very exposed. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the target to the Brutii, because it's just a better target. The reason being, it will be difficult for the Brutii to extricate themselves from this position, and that means a combined cavalry strike from here, infantry in from the front, and with only 9 infantry, it's very, very likely, very, very weak position that Copson would be in, so he'd be very easy to rout. As you can see, Bubu's lost cohesion, and this is precisely another thing you'd never want it to do with pikes, regardless of how good they are. If you break up like this, like what Bubu's doing, you'll find that even Spartans will be quickly defeated. So there's lots of gaps here, and as you can see, Beast is going to distract the Scipii, and here we go. Mo's going to push on the front, Beast is going to push in the back with Cav, I'm going to push in the back with Cav, and Mo's going to come in on the front with Cav, because it'll be difficult for the Brutii to pull out of this, because there's 2 armies on each side, and he had very limited numbers. So we just get a massive combined charge from 2 sides here, and that basically mass routes the Brutii army just straight away like that. So that was a pretty easy kill. But I mean, the original target was a Scipii, but that's just, as a team, we recognised that the Brutii was a more golden opportunity, so you just take it like that. So during battles, sometimes, all the time really, you'll find that there are situations where it is better to just suddenly, you look on the battlefield and you realise there's a better opportunity over there. And as a team, if you can recognise it, you will almost always find you win. Most teams don't often recognise it, and I'll admit, like, I get stuck and fixated on the original plan. I'll concede I've done that many a time, and I've made that mistake plenty of times, and as a result, all golden opportunities have been missed, and it's been completely my fault. But that's why this was probably like one of the biggest reasons I joined the Titans clan. The Titans are absolutely excellent at this type of thing. We have a plan, but if we see something that's better and we recognise it, and we recognise it as a team, and you don't even need to communicate it. We didn't communicate this, we just thought, like, we could just tell. I could tell Beast wanted to go for the Brutii, and I thought, yep, I'm going as well. It's a better target than the Scipii. It's in a more difficult position for him to extract, and he has less men, and Mo can support from the front quicker. So that means he's a better target than the Scipii. Even though the Scipii was still a good target because he was isolated, the Brutii presented an even better target. And as a team, we spotted it, and we were able to make advantage of it. Over here, as you can see, the Scipii makes a desperate attack against Beast, but at this stage, with all this cavalry, his infantry advantage is meaningless, and Mo and Beast completely just like one charge, mass routes them. I was getting ready to back up, and they didn't even need me, so I'm just going to go kill the Spartans at this stage, who are absolutely getting shot to crap by the archers. So our archers had absolute supremacy. We positioned them, we had them everywhere we wanted them, and as a result, they simply couldn't do anything to stop our archers from just crushing their flanks apart. And at this stage, as you can see, Bubu just admits defeat. So this is a really prime example of why when you play with archers, you need to set up yourself in an advantageous position to get the flanks and to get good shots at them, but you need to use your cavalry to do it. And as a result, we do it very well in this battle, and we come away with a heroic. I mean, look at Beast's kills. He's got nearly 1,800 kills there, or 1,700 kills. Me and Mo have not got many kills, but we played our role. Again, a lot of players focus on kills, but kills are just a nice thing to have on the scorecard. It's not about kills. It is about positioning, it is about setting up, and it is about teamwork. And our teamwork was really excellent in this battle. I really enjoyed this one, because archer builds like that are not super common, and you don't see them used that way, but we simply exploited the base setup of our opponents. They had less cavalry, so it allowed us to position our cavalry and archers in places we wanted and exploit the extra numbers. Beast went in quick. He went in and wiped out the Scipii cavalry out there, and that gave us a 18-6 cavalry advantage, and there was way too many units there for Kotsman to try and protect. And when he did try and back up, his cavalry got isolated and was hammered by 12 cavalry, which just is statistically 12 versus 6. We're definitely going to win that. So as a result, our cavalry was able to dominate the field, which meant our archers could go everywhere, so there was no flank and no position we couldn't go to and shoot. And that is how you should use archers. It requires really good teamwork, though. You can't just... I wouldn't try this strategy with just anybody. But with Mohammed, with Beast, with my fellow Titans clan members, with Greek clan members, for instance, this could work. It works very well, and I mean, again, like we've all still got over 1,000 men in our armies. We've taken very limited losses. I think I was... Which one of these? Because I know one of these is Mo, and one of them is... The higher cavalry kills are probably Mo. Wait, higher archer kills. Yeah, the higher archer kills are probably Mo, because he was firing more archers the whole time, whereas my archers were just shooting at flanks. Mo got slightly more kills than me, but regardless, the kills are not the point of this battle. It is the positioning and using the cavalry to get our archers into such a position as our opponents had no way to stop it. And again, it would be more difficult to make this work against 3 Romes, because they'd obviously have enough cavalry. But you just need to ensure that you've got a cavalry advantage at the right place, and you can still pull it off. But regardless, a really good game. I think it links in very well with the previous video. So if you didn't see the previous video, I recommend you see it, because it explains how when archers are not employed properly or in a way that's positioned well, it's too easy for a superior infantry army to defeat it, which is what I did with my teammates in the previous battle before this. But anyway, guys, I will of course be linking Beast's channel. It is the best 31k channel in my opinion out there. He is absolutely outstanding. He is the master of this game in my opinion, and I feel like as his student I'm learning so much. So I highly recommend, if you've never checked out Titan's Beast channel, the Beast of Holland, you should check it out, because he is just absolutely awesome at 31k, and his commentary is fantastic as well. He really gets the details right. So I'm going to link his channel in the description, and you guys check it out if you're interested. I highly recommend it. So once again, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon next time.